It's 3 a.m. and you're awake again? Not tossing, not restless, just awake, staring at the ceiling. Your phone says 3 hours have passed since you fell asleep, and now, for no reason you can name, your eyes are open. You assume something is wrong with you, but the real answer is far stranger. For most of human history, this wasn't a malfunction. It was the plan. Your brain still remembers a world that doesn't exist anymore, and every night, quietly, it tries to bring that world back. Think about what you were taught sleep should look like. Lights off, 8 hours. One long, unbroken block, like a battery charging on a shelf. Wake up, unplug, go. That's the model. That's what you've been chasing your whole life. But where did that model come from? Not from your biology, from your light bulb. Before electric light, night was long, very long. In much of Europe during winter, darkness could last 14 hours. Nobody was sleeping 14 hours straight. Nobody could. So what were they doing with all that time? A historian named A. Roger Ekirch spent over a decade trying to answer that question. He combed through thousands of diaries, court records, medical books, and letters from before the industrial age. And a strange pattern kept surfacing over and over in different countries, different languages, different centuries. People describe going to bed shortly after dusk, sleeping for 3 or 4 hours, then waking up. Not in a panic, not confused. They called it first sleep. After first sleep, people would rise in the dark and simply live for a while. They prayed, they talked, they had sex. They tended the fire, visited neighbors, even did small chores by candlelight. Some wrote letters during this window. One doctor's manual from the 1500s casually recommended it as the best time to study because the mind was calm and undistracted. Then, after an hour or two, they went back to bed. This was second sleep. It carried them through until morning. 2 sleeps. One long night split neatly in half by a pocket of calm wakefulness in the middle.
Doesn't that sound familiar? That 3 a.m. wake-up you've been dreading? That might not be insomnia at all. It might be first sleep ending, right on schedule, just like it did for your ancestors 500 years ago. Ekirch found references to segmented sleep fading out almost exactly as artificial lighting spread. Gas lamps, then electric bulbs, pushed bedtimes later and later. Nights got shorter, and the space for 2 separate sleeps simply got squeezed out of existence. By the early 1900s, the 2-sleep pattern had nearly vanished from written record. Not because bodies had changed, because environments had. But a diary entry is just a story. Could this actually be tested? In the 1990s, a psychiatrist named Thomas Wehr ran an experiment that reads almost like science fiction. He took a group of volunteers and put them somewhere with no artificial light for 14 hours a day, mimicking a long winter night for weeks at a time. At first, the subjects slept a long, disorganized stretch. Their bodies were catching up on years of light-drenched, sleep-deprived modern living. But then something shifted. After about a month, their sleep reorganized itself, without being told to, without any instruction at all. They began sleeping in 2 distinct blocks, with 1 to 3 hours of quiet, wakeful rest in between. The exact same pattern Ekirch had found buried in centuries-old letters. Their bodies hadn't learned this, they'd remembered it. So why did it disappear? And why does modern sleep science treat any nighttime waking as a red flag? Because your body isn't actually built to track 8 hours. It's built to track light and darkness. Your internal clock, run by a tiny brain structure called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, is exquisitely sensitive to how much light hits your eyes and when. For nearly all of human evolution, that meant a long dark night with nothing to interrupt it except firelight and the moon. Now think about your actual evening. A bright kitchen, a phone screen inches from your face, a television glowing in a dark room at 11 p.m. Every one of those tells your brain it's still daytime, right up until the moment you demand it switch off completely and stay off for 8 straight hours. No wonder it sometimes refuses. Sleep scientist Matthew Walker has spent years studying what chronic sleep disruption does to a modern brain, and his research keeps circling back to one theme. Your biology hasn't caught up to your lifestyle. You are, neurologically speaking, still a creature built for firelight and long dark winters, dropped into a world of streetlights and screens that never go out. That 3 a.m. gap your ancestors filled with prayer, conversation, or quiet thought? You fill it with anxiety instead. Lying there, calculating how many hours of sleep you have left, watching the numbers shrink, feeling your heart rate climb because a normal biological rhythm has been rebranded as a crisis. The waking isn't the problem. The panic about the waking is the problem. Isn't that a strange kind of trade? We gained endless light, endless productivity, endless evening hours to work and scroll and watch. And in exchange, we lost permission to simply be awake in the dark without fear. There's something almost tender in what Ekirch uncovered. People used to wake in the middle of the night and use that time gently, to think, to connect, to rest their minds without demanding sleep return immediately. It wasn't wasted time. It was built into the rhythm of being human. You still carry that rhythm somewhere inside you. It surfaces sometimes, uninvited, at 3 a.m., in a bedroom lit by a phone charger's tiny blue light, in a world your ancestors would not recognize. So the next time you wake in the dark and the clock accuses you of failure, consider a different explanation. Maybe nothing broke. Maybe, for one quiet hour, your brain simply reached back through hundreds of years and found the rhythm it was built for all along. It's 3 a.m. and you're awake again. Maybe that's not a malfunction after all. Maybe it's a memory,